What's up, Chaos Shinobi here. Summary: Naruto is ignored and neglected by his family, and in an accident he unlocks the powers of the Otsutsuki and becomes the god of 10 paths. Chapter 5. Knock knock. Coming. A knock at the door garnered the attention of a beautiful dark-haired woman. She made to open the door before being stopped by Shino, who pulled a kunai and went to answer it in her stead. Opening the door, keeping his weapon hidden from view, Shino saw his 4 former classmates along with a masked man and a red-headed woman, whom he recognized: Kushina Uzumaki. "You must be Kurenai's student, Aburame Shino, right?" Kushina asked, giving him a small smile. "Yes," Shino said. He was person of few words. He looked back at the woman inside of the house and gestured to her to let her know everything was okay. At that point, the woman came to the door and greeted the new arrivals with a warm smile. "Hello, my name is Tsunami. You all must be the group of ninjas sent to help the others protect my father." She bowed to them. Kushina smiled. "My name is Uzumaki Kushina. It's nice to meet you. I'm Hatake Kakashi." Kakashi gave her eye smile. He pointed behind him at the kids. "Those are our students. The brooding one is Uchiha Sasuke, the little redhead is Uzumaki Natsumi, Pinky's name is Haruno Sakura, the blonde boy is Naruto." Sasuke gave his famous stoic response. Natsumi gave her grin, Sakura smiled at her, and Naruto just nodded his head. Shino stood off to the side as they all came in and Tsunami closed the door behind them. "Where is your team, Shino?" Kushina asked. "They are in the living room." When they reached in the living room, they saw remaining members of Team 8 with exception of their teacher. They all looked worse for wear. Kiba had a ripped jacket, Hinata had a small bit of blood on her arm, meaning she had been hit by some small weapon, probably a senbon needle. They hadn't noticed it before, but Shino also looked tired, probably from the chakra exhaustion. Natsumi stepped forward when she saw Hinata and gave her childhood friend a small hug. "Thank goodness, you're safe, Hinata," she said. "I was worried about you." Sorry for making you worried," the shy girl said. She subconsciously rubbed her injured arm. Naruto's eyes caught this. He pulled out a small vial from his pocket. It contained a light purplish liquid inside, and tossed it at Hinata. The Hyuga Airless caught the vial and looked at the blonde questionably. "That medicine will ease your pain," he told her. Thank you," Hinata said while pocketing the medicine. "Thank God," Kiba to himself as he saw the team. "We really need your help. Kurenai-sensei is upstairs injured from a fight and we didn't know what to do without her." Kakashi smiled at the young man. "You did everything you were supposed to do. Sit in a fortified area and wait for backup, and well done on not just answering the door." He praised the team while gesturing for Naruto to go check on Kurenai. "Go see if you can get her up and moving, Naruto. Do what you can." Naruto nodded. "Yes, Kakashi-sensei. I'll accompany you, Naruto-kun," Kushina said. Kushina smiled at teammate as she and Naruto walked past them up the stairs. On the way, they ran into an old man. They recognized him, Tazuna, the master bridge builder. They had seen his picture in the file. He had gray hair, a large beard and dark eyes. He wore a sleeveless v-neck shirt with an obi pants. The bridge builder was drunk. He took a sip of the sake. His eyes fell upon Kushina. A perverted grin appeared on his wrinkled face. Kushina noticed that as she gave him a death glare, making the old man nearly piss his pant. He quickly moved away from her with fear in his eyes. "Idiot," Naruto thought as he and Kushina walked into the room. Kurenai was laying down asleep, but her dress was ripped in the stomach and they could see clearly that there was a rather deep cut on the abdomen that wasn't healing right. Naruto quickly placed some seals on her body. "What are those seals for?" Kushina asked, pointing at the seals that were blinking in a purple light. Naruto didn't look at her as his all attention was on Kurenai. "Why are you asking me? You're an Uzumaki. Fuinjutsu is in your blood," he said. Kushina sighed. She should have expected this kind of answer from her son. "Let's see." She watched the seal carefully. It didn't take her much time to understand those seals. "So these are medical tags," she said. "Where did you get them?" "They are more advanced and complicated than those tags we use in hospitals." "I made them." "You made those tags? I didn't know you know Fuinjutsu." "There are many things you don't know about me." Kushina watched her son making some hand seals. He had come this far in the Fuinjutsu, one of most complex shinobi arts. The Uzumaki blood truly flew strongly in her son. "I've treated her wounds, but seems like she has some chakra exhaustion," Naruto said. His glowing green hands were on Kurenai's stomach where she had a deep wound. "I will have to feed some of my chakras slowly into her body to relieve the stress on her coils and to flush the toxins from her chakra stream." "Oh, good news for you, teammate. Kurenai is out of danger," Kushina said. Team 8 and 7 had gathered in the living hall for a meeting. After hearing that their teacher was going to be alright, Team 8 signed in relief. Kushina continued, But the bad news is she can't help us in this mission. She's going to need rest to allow her body to heal. One of us has to take care of her. I'll do it, Sakura said, volunteering herself for this. This surprised everyone, to Team 7 more than others. Kakashi looked at Kushina, who gave her approval. Okay, Sakura will take care of Kurenai as well as the guard this home, Kakashi said before looking at Team 8. Now explain to me what happened since you fought the Demon Brothers. We defeated the Demon Brothers with teamwork and help from our sensei. Then we acquired the real information about the mission from Tazuna and decided as a group to continue on with the missions. After Kurenai sensei sent a message for backup, we took the boat ride to the village. Then we encountered a missing ninja by the name of Momochi Zabuza. Taking a breath, Shino paused. Then before he could continue, he was interrupted. Momochi Zabuza? That name sounds familiar. Natsumi squeezed her eyes shut and tried to remember. Momochi Zabuza, aka Demon of the Hidden Mist, Naruto said. Ah, yes. Now I remember. Thanks, brother. Natsumi gave her brother a small smile. Whatever, Naruto scoffed. He looked away as he didn't need her thanks. Momochi Zabuza. He is a rank missing nin from the mist, Natsumi said. He is one of the former 7 swordsmen of the Hidden Mist and specialist in a silent killing technique. That man is dangerous. Wow, Natsumi, it's very smart, but where did you get this information? Sakura asked. Natsumi rubbed the back of her head. Well, ever since I learned that our Lizzie-sensei isn't lazy but a genius of his generation, I have been reading about famous shinobis and missing nins for future. After all, knowledge is power. You're heading in the right direction, Natsumi-chan. Kushina praised her daughter before turning to Shino. You may continue, Shino-kun. Kurenai-sensei instructed us to protect the client while she fought with Zabuza. The matchup was unfortunately heavily sided in Zabuza's favor because of the jutsu that he could use. Kurenai-sensei did everything she could, but she could only protect us while we escaped with the client. She soon met up with us afterwards, in which she collapsed at the house from exhaustion. Shino explained with a monotone voice. Good work, Team 8. Did Kurenai say anything to you before she collapsed? Kakashi asked. Oh, she did mention that Kiri Hunter Nin took Zabuza's dead body, Kiba remembered. So Zabuza is dead, Sasuke said, sound disappointed as he really wanted to test his strength against the powerful ninja like Zabuza. Naruto said suddenly, I'm not so sure. What do you mean? Kiba asked as he looked at Naruto. What are you not sure about? Naruto looked at Team 7 and 8. The Hunter Nins usually dispose of the body of the person they killed right there. That way no one has a chance to discover the secrets. Kakashi and Kushina suddenly realized the entire situation. So what? Sakura asked, who didn't have any clue what Naruto was saying. It means Zabuza may be alive and that Hunter Nin who took his body is his companion, Kushina informed all Genins. The announcement that Zabuza was alive seemed to have varying levels of effect on those in the room. Natsumi seemed excited. Sasuke was smirking, thinking he would get a chance to fight a strong opponent and prove himself as a Uchiha, as well as bringing himself one step closer to kill Itachi. Sakura looked around in worry, not feeling anywhere near as confident as her crush. Hinata was nervous. She knew that she had no chance of helping in a fight like this. No one knew what Shino was thinking as he had shown no visible emotion. Aren't you thinking too much? Kiba asked. If Zabuza was alive, he intended to pay him back for what he had done to his sensei. Hunter Nins are supposed to kill missing nins. No, with all the suspicion, we will prepare before it's too late. That's shinobi rule, Kakashi stated. Plus whether Zabuza dead or alive, there's no assurance that Gato hasn't hired an even stronger shinobi. But what can we do? Hinata asked, frightened of even the thought of seeing Zabuza again. This whole mission had worsened for her. Don't be afraid, Hinata-chan. Natsumi pointed over at Kushina and Kakashi. We have 2 Jounin and the rest of us. Hinata gave her best friend a weak smile, still not really feeling too good about this whole thing. Hiyashibaka, look what you've done to your sweet girl. Kushina blamed him for Hinata's lack of confidence. But again, I'm not better than you, she thought sadly, eyeing Naruto. It was her and Minato's fault that had changed her son. Naruto used to be a sweet and bright child, but he had become a shadow of its former self. Kakashi-sensei, I'm going outside to gather some medicinal herbs, Naruto informed. Natsumi took a few steps toward Naruto and said, brother, I'm coming with you. It's not safe to go alone. I didn't need your help. If you go with me, you will be a burden to me. But what if Zabuza isn't going to attack soon? Naruto cut her off. From what Shino told us, Zabuza is also injured. It will take a while for him to recover. Angrily Natsumi opened her mouth to protest, but her mother stopped her. Let him go, Natsumi. But Natsumi wanted to protest, but she couldn't. Thank you, Naruto said and quickly left the room, closing the door behind him. Oh! Naruto leapt from tree to tree, gracefully jumping from branch to branch. He had heightened his sensory ability to make sure no one following, as he didn't want to screw up this golden chance. He jumped from tree to tree, branch to branch. He didn't stop till he reached his destination. When he saw a clearing, he pumped chakra to his legs before jumping high into the air and landed on the green ground silently. "Zetsu, have you found the entrance?" Naruto said. He took a few steps forward before moved his head to the right. He saw Zetsu emerge slowly from the grassy ground. "Yes, we've found it," White Zetsu started. "The Black Zetsu completed, but it's protected by a strong barrier." "I'll handle that barrier," Naruto said, removing the gloves he wore. "Now, get ready for the switch. I require a White Zetsu's clone for this process." A White Zetsu clone emerged from the ground near Naruto. "Hi," he said as he waved at Naruto. Naruto bit his right thumb and started to make some hand seals. "Is it going to hurt?" the clone asked, nervously. "I don't know," Naruto said, completing the last hand seal. "Let's find out, shall we?" He thrust his right hand into the clone's chest. A small seal array materialized on the clone's body. "It doesn't hurt," the clone said before ripple formed on his skin. The ripples had started from his chest before spreading all over his body. "Good to know," Naruto said, removing the hand from the clone chest. Naruto watched the clone's body begin to melt. First, he thought his experiment failed, then something unexpected happened. The clone's body started to take a shape, his skin and hair started to gain colors, clothing began to form on his body. Within a few minutes, the White Zetsu's clone transformed into his perfect replica. "How do you feel?" Naruto asked his replica. "I don't know, boss, but it's felt weird in someone else's body," his clone spoke, looking at his own body. "What did you do?" the white half of Zetsu asked, confused, eyeing Naruto's replica carefully. "I've also the same question," the black half of Zetsu said. He was also confused as his white half. "White Zetsu and his clones are particularly part of a tree, so I used your clone to make the body of my wood clone. This technique is a fusion of wood clone technique and Fuinjutsu," Naruto explained. "But tell you the truth, I wasn't even sure this was going to work, but it worked," Naruto's clone said, smiling. "Why did you go such lengths to make this clone?" the Black Zetsu asked. "A Zetsu's clone would have easily taken your place in this mission." "I can't control the action of Zetsu's clone, but I can control my clone's action." Naruto looked at his clone and sweat dropped. His clone was sticking his finger into his nose. "I take back my word, I can't even control the action of my own clone." Both Zetsu let out a small chuckle. "I'll meet you there, brother," the Black Zetsu said. Zetsu slowly merged into the ground and disappeared, but Naruto could still hear their chucking. He sighed and did a fake cough to catch his clone attention. "What?" Naruto's clone said. He still had his finger stuck into his nose. "Will you please stop doing it? I have an image." "Sorry," the clone apologized, removing his hands from his face and straightening. "I need you to behave properly and please, don't do anything I wouldn't do." Naruto leapt high into the air. He stopped in midair for a few seconds and then started to descend towards the ground. Before he touched the ground, a dark portal opened up and swallowed him whole. "Why did boss come here?" Naruto's special clone said, mostly himself, scratching back of his head. "Well, I think about it later. Time to take a nap." He laid down flat on the grass and closed his eyes. "Oh, I don't know, but I've got a feeling my clone has done something stupid," Naruto said to himself as he landed on the dusty ground in a crouching position, feet wide apart and supporting their weight with one hand. "Cool landing," one of the Zetsu's clones said while clapping his hands. "Thanks." Naruto stood up and dusted the dirt from his clothes. He looked around to see where the portal had thrown him. The ruins of Ozushiogakuer. At the center of the ruins was a squat, very battered, but very sturdy-looking building. It was 2 stories tall and made of solid stone, looking like it had all been carved out of one massive slab of rock. It was on its own island in the middle of the river that divided the village in two, probably the seat of power for whoever led the village. It looked to be largely intact, with massive steel doors that had been forced open underneath a giant Uzumaki crest. The walls all had rough gouges in them, looking like chunks had been torn out of the stone. At the front and back of the building, there were pathways leading up to the remains of 2 bridges that connected the village. They weren't the only bridges between the 2 shores, but they had been the biggest from the looks of it. The ruins all looked very foreign to Naruto, the buildings made out of concrete, rock and steel as opposed to the wooden structures in Konoha. From the looks of the place, Uzu's buildings had been much taller than most that could be found in Konoha as well. "Where is Zetsu?" Naruto asked the Zetsu's clone that was following him. "I'm here, brother," the Black Zetsu spoke, slinking out of the wall. "You're late," Naruto said, Glancing around curiously, the white Zetsu grinned, "Sorry, we got lost on the road of life." "It's not funny." Naruto wasn't in the mood for joking. "We've already wasted too much time. Tell me, where is the entrance?" "Stop your nonsense," the black Zetsu scolded the white Zetsu. "Brother, follow me." Zetsu led Naruto through the ruins of the fallen village. There were so many destroyed buildings and so little nature. Everything seemed as if it was just recently destroyed and burned to the ground. Everything that was buried in certain areas seemed to have either been destroyed or already taken. It added to the feeling of the area, as if not a single soul had walked the grounds of Ozushigakure in decades. "Oh!" A feminine-looking boy with long black hair and brown eyes walked through the woods with a basket in hand when he saw a sleeping boy. As he got closer, he took note of the headband wrapped around his arm. "A Konoha ninja? But this one isn't any of the ones that we saw last time. Did they get reinforcements?" "I've left all my weapons at the hideout." He narrowed his eyes and set the basket down before quietly creeping up to him, slowly extending his hand to strangle him right then and there. Right as his hand got in range of touching his throat, the blonde grabbed his wrist and forearm with both hands and wrapped his legs around his neck and arm, proceeding to turn the tables and choke him with his legs. When Naruto opened his eyes, he saw a boy his age slowly turning red in his grasp. Naruto quickly set him free, before backing away against a tree. "I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to do that to you. I'm sorry." The boy sat on his knees coughing as the color of his face started returning to normal. He looked up at the boy that had almost killed him. "Boss is gonna kill me. I nearly killed a civilian." Naruto's clone took a closer look at the boy. Why is he wearing woman's clothing? Does he like cross-dressing? He thought when he saw the boy wearing a pink, sleeveless kimono. He narrowed his eyes, sensing the feminine boy's chakra. He has a strong chakra for a civilian. He must be Zabuza's subordinate. He looked again at the boy and then thought about Zabuza. I didn't know Zabuza swang that way. Did he cross-dress to seduce Zabuza? Perhaps. Zabuza isn't gay, but his subordinate is trying to catch his attention by wearing woman's clothes. "It's okay." The boy finally said, "You must have been quite on edge to attack like that. My name is Haku, by the way." He gave a disarmingly beautiful smile. Naruto didn't react to him. Obviously, Haku thought that he would fall to his cough woman's charm. "I'm Naruto," he said. Silence. No one spoke. The feminine boy fidgeted on his spot at the uncomfortable silence. "Say, are you a ninja?" he asked, trying to make conversation. "I mean, you're strong and you have a forehead protector." "You're right, I'm a ninja." "Why did you ask?" "Nothing, I'm just curious." Curiosity killed the cat. Naruto's eyes fell on Haku's basket. The boy had collected some special herbs that used to make strength drink. "Tell me, Naruto-san, do you have any precious people you want to protect?" Haku said. Naruto had no clue what the boy was saying. "What are you talking about?" "It's just, I believe when a person has something important that they want to protect, that's when they can become truly strong," Haku said. "My parents died when I was just a kid. I was found by my precious person months later." He seemed to go down an own memory lane. Naruto didn't want to hear his sob story, so he took the next step to confirm his suspicions. "Haku, how is Zabuza?" he asked. Naruto observed his reaction and he wasn't disappointed. Haku's eyes had widened. The feminine body quickly got into the fighting stance, but couldn't do more than that as a string wrapped around his neck tightly. "Don't move or you'll find yourself without the head," Naruto gave warning. "So, how's Zabuza?" He got any answer as Haku stayed silent. "Don't want to give information to your enemy, huh?" The blonde Genin tightened his string hold, causing Haku's neck to bleed. "Go to hell." "You know? Last time, the person who said the same thing to me died. So if you don't want to die horribly, tell me. It's not like you'll lose something in the process. I'll even let you go. I'm in a pretty good mood today. Don't ruin it." "I will never betray, Zabuza-sama. Kill me. I won't tell you." "Your loyalty is admirable." Haku knew a swift move from the blonde Genin and he would die. But there was way. Concentrating on his bloodline, he formed an ice using the water around him and froze the string. He hit the frozen string, effectively destroying it. Wasting no time, he formed an ice mirror and stepped inside. Naruto raised his eyebrow as he watched the mirror dissolve into water and drop to the soil. The ice release, so he's a member of Yuki clan. That's interesting. "Oh, I told you, Mom, I should have gone with him," Natsumi argued with her mother. She was clearly worried about her father. 4 hours had passed, there was still no sign of him. Nat, Kushina cut off by a loud noise. The front door had flung open. There stood Naruto with 4 fish in hands. "I brought our dinner," Naruto said, walking in. He offered his fish to Tsunami, who gladly accepted. Kakashi looked up from his orange book. "You're late, Naruto. Sorry, I was lost on the road of life. Then I ran into one of Zabuza's accomplices and had to fight him to come here, Naruto said with straight face. Everyone's sweat dropped at his unbelievable answer, except the teammate, who hadn't known Kakashi very well, looked at Naruto in disbelief. Naruto. I'm so proud of you. Coming up with such an awesome excuse. I now feel like my time being this team's sensei has truly borne fruit. Kakashi gave an eye smile. He yelped when Kushina slapped him upside the head. It's not the excuse, it's true. The clone screamed in his mind, realizing no one was believing him. I lost in the forest and fought with Haku, too, who is working with Zabuza. Oh, I don't know why, but I really want to kill my clone now, Naruto muttered while following Zetsu. How far away is that place from here? We'll reach there in about 10 minutes, the Black Zetsu said. You said the same thing 15 minutes ago, Naruto said. When the group finally arrived at their destination, the sun had disappeared completely under the horizon, the only sources of light being the stars and the green glow of thousands of fireflies flitting throughout the ruins. This is the entrance, the Black Zetsu said. He pointed to a large rock. There was a complex seal carved minutely on the smooth gray face. But be careful, brother. A complex seal protecting it. Don't worry, Black Zetsu, Naruto said, walking toward the rock. I have the blood of the Uzumaki clan, which is the key of this seal. He bit his thumb, just enough to draw blood. He smeared the drop of blood across the seal. When his blood touched the seal, it started to shine, opening a shimmering blue portal. You did it, the White Zetsu said. I know, Naruto smirked. Let's go. The protecting barrier has gone. The Black Zetsu summoned few Zetsu's clones. Protect the entrance and make sure no one comes near this place, he said. Naruto and Zetsu stepped into the portal that was connected to an unknown place. The Uzumakis were really something, White Zetsu said. Yes, Black Zetsu admitted. He glanced around, he was amazed by the immense size of the place. So this is the lost dimension of the Otsutsuki clan, the Library of Benzaiden. It was the name of the dimension they were in. The place was an incredibly large library that seemingly had endless floors. The interior walls were shaped like a hexagon, with numerous shelves at each side arranged in various patterns. Neatly arranged scrolls and books on all those shelves were holding a vast amount of knowledge of Otsutsuki clan and every dimension they had invaded. The floors were linked with each other with what seemed to be bridges, serving as a passageway between sporadic flats in the library. Naruto pulled a seemingly random book from a shelf, flipped through it quickly. Interesting, he said. This book is on various types of sealing techniques, but we're not here for this. He closed the book and then stuck it back into its place. Naruto looked around when he spotted what looked to be an image of the goddess carved from some warm reddish stone beside a large passage. The goddess was sitting on the back of a large dragon playing a biwa. Naruto and Zetsu walked up to where the passage led into another room. They stopped in front of a beautiful sandstone statue of the same goddess whose statue was at the entrance. However, in this form, the goddess had 8 arms instead of 2 and was sitting on a lotus throne. In each of her hands, she was holding a bow, arrow, sword, axe, spear, long pestle, iron wheel, and silk rope. Naruto closed his eyes and clapped his hands together. He held them together out in front of him and concentrated on his chakra. A dark aura lifted off his body like a smoke and spread over the floor. A 7-pronged seal illuminated like the sun across the floor below the goddess statue. 7 lines of symbols spread outwards from each seal, away from the inside of the formation, stopping at the same time and forming another line that connected the ends in a circle. The goddess statue moved, revealing a secret passage underneath. Another passage? White Zetsu said, annoyed. Just how far we have to go to get that thing? This is the last one, I think, Naruto said, muttering the last part under his breath. Naruto walked down the passage, ignoring the seals that dimly illuminated the pathway. He knew the place he was looking for would be on the other side of the passage. The end of the passage was a large empty room. In its center, hovering in a dim white light, was a strange brownish-orange mask with black marks on the corners of the mouth and eyes. It had a large white beard with what seemed to be unruly eyebrows and a mustache. A mask? We came here for an old mask? White Zetsu said. This is not just a mask, Black Zetsu said. This is the mask of Terakudo, Lord of all Oni. This mask is a powerful artifact. Many have tried to control its power, but no one has succeeded in it, Naruto said, walking toward the mask. White Zetsu swallowed nervously. The mask had an aura of pitch-black darkness and death, surrounding and flowing out and off of it like it was made of water, which consumed any light. Are you sure you want to do this? He asked. There is no second chance. The failure means death. Black Zetsu informed. There is no turning back now. Naruto grabbed the mask and put it on his face. For a moment, nothing happened. Then, The air suddenly seemed to darken, to become thick with an overwhelming power. Naruto's eyes widened. He fell down on his knees, breathing heavily. He felt terrible pain, but besides physical sensations, he felt as if his very soul was also charring, roasted by the flame. He gritted his teeth. Something was trying to take over his body, he could feel it. Several shadows began swirling around Naruto, lashing at him like tentacles. They wrapped around his arms and legs. Naruto struggled to break out of their hold, but the tentacles started to drag him into the floor, into some kind of a dark portal. What would happen to us if he died? White Zetsu asked as he watched shadows pull Naruto into the portal. Black Zetsu opened his mouth and then closed it immediately. He hadn't thought about it. "Oh, Mom!" Natsumi screamed. The door of a bedroom was flung open. "Natsumi, what happened?" Kushina asked. Natsumi was kneeling beside her brother. Her eyes were watering. Kushina's eyes widened when she saw her son lying on the floor, unmoving. She immediately moved toward her children. She grabbed Naruto's arm. His body was like a furnace, burning away. Shaking him, she tried to wake him. Nothing. She yelled at him. Nothing. The image of 6-year-old Naruto lying on the hospital bed flashed in the front of her eyes. Naruto. "Oh, a child? A child wants to control me." Naruto was on his knees. His violet eyes were glaring at the large, brownish-orange floating head with green-yellowish eyes. Around them was an empty black void filled with an eerie mist-like sky. He was the place that called the Shadow Realm, an alternate dimension where the shadows lay. Naruto got up and threw a punch, but it just passed right through the floating head. The Lord of all Oni laughed. Naruto screamed when a charge of electricity racked his body. "A physical power is useless against a spirit like me. Give up. I promise I'll make your death less painful." Naruto groaned, but began to move, trying to find some place to put his hands and feet to try and stand up. An invisible force slammed into him and sent him flying. Naruto lay on the non-existent floor feeling pain. He willed himself to make it to his hands and knees. He forced each muscle in his body to move, despite the incredible pain. He swayed back and forth. "You're a stubborn child," Terakudo laughed as he watched the boy struggling to get up on his feet. "What? Do you want to say something?" Don't call me Chi-child." The space behind Naruto rippled and two large white eyes shot open. They glowed ominously into the black background of the Shadow Realm. Those eyes glared at the Oni, making him freeze to the spot. What is this?" "Show him the power of an Otsutsuki," a familiar voice said as it echoed over in Naruto's head. "Mom." Naruto's eyes gleamed and a joyous smile spread across his lips. A tiny white glimmer appeared in front of him. Slowly, the glimmer grew into a small fiery ball. Naruto shakily stood up on his feet. He stretched his hand out toward the ball. His fingers connected with the white ball and he felt a sudden surge of power flow through him. It coursed through his fingertips, up his arm, and into his body. The power filled him, his body crackled with the sheer amount of power that he now held. It healed his all wounds, lessening all his pain. Naruto's mismatched eyes locked onto the King of Shadow. "I am Naruto, Naruto Otsutsuki, the son of Princess Kaguya. Remember it," he shouted. Naruto crushed the fiery ball he held in his hand. A misty power enveloped him and his Rin Sharingan obtained another Tomoe. 4 Tomoe in his eye began to spin around his pupil and Naruto disappeared in the burst of speed. He appeared in the front of the Omi. He moved his arm to grab the floating head. Terakudo thought the punch would pass through him, but to his surprise, Naruto's hand connected him. How? Don't underestimate Rin Sharingan, it has a power of beyond life and death. The Oni felt his power being pulled out of him. What are you doing?" "You don't need to know," Naruto said. The Lord of all Oni began to break down. Cracks formed all around his skin. Terakudo let out a scream before bursting into several particles. The particles moved, swirling around Naruto. They concentrated on his forehead and absorbed in his body, giving him a black diamond-shaped mark the forehead. "I feel different," Naruto said mostly himself. Shadows were flocking around his body, moving like they had their own mind. I think I can control them." Naruto waved his hand and shadows moved away from him. He stretched his arm forward. Coping his hand's movement, shadows conjuncted a giant hand of shadow that followed his hand movement. "Oh!" Naruto got up. When he opened his eyes, he saw the Hyuga heiress kneeling beside her injured teacher. Do you want anything, and Naruto-san?" she asked. She peeled off Kurenai's stained bandages and cleaned up her wound with alcohol. She wrapped new bandages around the wound. "I think her name is Hinata," Naruto's clone thought. "No, thank you," he said. He got to his feet and did some stretching exercises. "Naruto-san," Hinata said to get Naruto's attention. You were unconscious for nearly 3 days." "What? Naruto said, snapping his head toward the Hyuga. He looked at her face. Just what happened to you, boss? I felt like someone had shredded off my connection with you. He asked Hinata, where are the others? They are guarding the bridge. Naruto about asked another question when he heard a scream. Both he and Hinata immediately set off to find out why. Oh! Inari was in the bathroom, getting cleaned up when he heard his mother scream. He raced down the hall and burst into the kitchen. Inari, no. Run, Tsunami shouted. Should we take him, too? Waraji asked Zuri. We only need one hostage, Zuri responded. I guess I can kill him, then. I've been wanting to cut something all morning. Waraji drew his sword. Inari was paralyzed by fear. Even as the words of Keiza drifted through his head, about protecting what's important, all Inari knew was that he was scared, about to die, and couldn't save his mother. Wait. Tsunami barked out the single word sharply. Don't you dare touch my son. If you do, I'll bite my own tongue off and drown in my blood. Then what will you do for a live hostage? Zuri and Waraji exchanged glances, debating whether she was serious or not. They couldn't take the chance. Both sheathed their swords. You got lucky, kid, your mom saved you, Zuri commented as he and Waraji tied Tsunami up. They forced her to walk, leaving Inari alone. He began to sob, thinking of all that had happened. Keiza's words caused Inari to stop crying. For the first time, he put his own life on the back burner. With his fists clenched, he ran outside. Mommy, he shouted, before running blindly toward the two samurai. The two samurai grinned at each other and drew their swords. It wasn't every day they got someone so willing to die. Their blades flashed down and cut Inari in two. But Inari was gone. A log? Turning quickly, the two samurais saw that their hostage was also gone, replaced by a log. Naruto put down Inari and Tsunami. Hinata, take care Tsunami and Inari. I will handle them, he said, drawing his sword. Waraji began saying in a mocking tone, what are? You talk too much, Naruto said. His sword had been buried in Waraji's chest, piercing his heart. Naruto pulled back his sword and the dead body fell on the floor. Zuri took a few steps back, fear quickly rushing throughout his body before he met the same fate. Hinata, clean up this mess. I'm going to go help others, the rest here is up to you, okay? With that, Naruto zipped away to catch up others. Wait. Hinata was too late to stop him. She looked at the dead bodies and shivered, knowing she would remember all of this for as long as she lived. What am I going to do with them? Oh! The real Naruto levitated up from a shadow portal and landed in silence. Brother, we really thought we'd lost you, Black Zetsu said. Naruto walked toward Zetsu as he said, have faith in me. I'm not going to die without fulfilling our goal. So, what did you get? White Zetsu asked. More than I could have ever imagined, Naruto replied and he motioned with his hand. A dozen shadows came out of every dark corner of the room and stopped in the circle around Naruto. All shadows distorted before taking shapes of tall men wearing black ninja suits with dark red and blue accents that covered most of their bodies and faces. All men inclined their heads silently with a slight bow toward Naruto. Okay, what are they? White Zetsu asked. Both Zetsu looked at new arrivals. They all had identical features like grayish-blue skin and glowing, red eyes as if they were demons or part of a demon clan. They are like tailed beasts, but instead of made of chakra, they are living forms of shadows, Naruto said. There are several types of them, but these are my favorite. Well, I can see why, Black Zetsu said. They look like ninjas. I know. Naruto smiled. I don't know if you'd be particularly interested in hearing anything about it. Your family, I mean your former family. White Zetsu immediately corrected his mistake. The Konoha ninjas have gotten into a big trouble. What kind of a trouble are you talking about? Naruto asked. Well, Kushina had drawn her sword, but she remained like a statue, waiting for her opponent to make the first move. Her opponent was a tall muscular man with pale skin, short spiky black hair, brown eyes. He was wearing bandages like a mask over the bottom half of his face. I certainly never expected to see you of all people here, red-hot-blooded habanero, Zabuza said, shifting his sword to his left hand. Zabuza shifted his weight to his right foot and Kushina quickly lifted her own blade, parrying the strike. Zabuza's sword was massive, as tall as a full-grown man, shaped like a butcher knife. That sword's name was Kubikirabocho. Kushina blocked his strike again with her own sword. The metals clashed in a huge sound. Compared to Zabuza's huge sword, Kushina's sword was small. It was thick, razor-sharp, two-tone blade. The sword was accented with the black cord around the hilt, gold menuki, red cord around the wooden guard. I need to be careful around her, Zabuza thought. She is an S-rank shinobi and my wrong move can cost my life. Once again they clashed swords. This time the demon of the hidden mist applied an amount of force. Swinging rightwards with full force, he sent Kushina skidding backwards. Zabuza noticed small cracks in his sword. So this is the power of Benihime, the legendary sword of Uzumaki clan head. Oh! Kakashi heard a small explosion followed by the sound of clashing steel. Kushina-senpai has started to take her opponent seriously, he thought. He uncovered his Sharingan eye. Kakashi looked at his opponent. His name was Nagare. He had small black eyes and cheek-length black hair. He was wearing a weird hat on his head tied under his chin, a beige-colored tunic-type sleeveless shirt buttoned together with a single button and a tan-colored baggy pair of short pants held up with a white belt. Nagare was a user of Assimilate All creation technique that allowed its user to take on the properties of any nearby object. Two ninjas launched themselves. Two traded blow after blow, faster than any regular human eye could follow. Parting away, they tossed some handful shurikens. The throwing stars collided with each other and cancelled each other out. They then engaged in another fierce battle of taijutsu, trading kicks and punches with each other. Kakashi slipped a kunai in his hand from his hidden pocket and moved to plunge the kunai down into his opponent's neck. The kunai failed to penetrate Nagare's neck as it simply bounced off his rock-hard skin. Assimilation, rock tank. Fusing with a nearby rock, Nagare expanded into a large ball and rolled towards Kakashi with great force. It would be harder to attack him this way. Kakashi recognized technique similar to the Akimichi clan's human bullet tank. He knew he needed to get out of the way fast. Oh, why is the air so cold all of a sudden? Sasuke thought to himself, not dropping his guard. He was so focused on Haku that he didn't notice the water all around him blowing into the air and hardening. Secret technique, demonic mirroring ice crystals. All around Sasuke, mirrors made of ice cropped up. He was boxed in by the dome shape the mirrors collectively formed. What happened next was even more amazing. Haku walked up to one of the mirrors. He just kept walking right into the mirror. But even more amazing was the fact that Haku's image suddenly spread to all the mirrors. What's he planning to do with those mirrors? Sasuke wondered. He knew this was a jutsu, but it was baffling. Let me show you real speed, Haku's voice intoned. Seconds later, senbon flew from every direction. Wind release, breakthrough. Before any of the senbon could hit the Uchiha, a gust of wind came and blew them away, sending them back to the fake hunter Nin. Sasuke, are you alright? Natsumi asked. You idiot. We could have attacked him from both sides, Sasuke shouted. Our best chance was to have me attack from the inside, while she attacked from the outside. And what does this idiot do? She surprises me instead of the enemy. Excuse me. You are welcome for the save. I went through hell to help you. Natsumi shot back. At that point, Haku resumed his attack, this time hitting both Natsumi and Sasuke. This led Sasuke to form a desperate plan escape by destroying the mirrors. Fire style, fireball jutsu. Sasuke released a huge amount of fire from his mouth, but to Sasuke's exasperation, the ice didn't melt. It only scratched their targets. Then, as if to add insult to injury, the mirror rapidly repaired itself, leaving no trace of his attempt to escape. Haku's voice echoed throughout the icy prison saying, "Your fire attacks can hurt me. You can't catch me." Multiple shadow clone jutsu. Natsumi created dozen flesh and blood doubles of herself. Immediately, clones moved around her and Sasuke, forming a ring of the protective wall. Hey, Sasuke. Let's try your fire with my breeze, Natsumi said. Sasuke didn't understand what she was saying, but then Sasuke caught the meaning. Both Shinin started waving hand signs of their respective jutsus. Fire style, great fireball jutsu. Wind release, great breakthrough. Sasuke inhaled air, and then blowing out a huge amount of fire through a slightly open fist. At the same time, Natsumi released her own wind jutsu. How fire and wind jutsus worked. Natsumi and Sasuke's attacks merged to create an enormous, blazing hot fireball. Haku was paralyzed in shock when he saw the roaring fireball approach him. Zabuza's apprentice tried desperately to think of a way to escape from the oncoming attack. No matter where Haku looked, he couldn't find a way to escape. The collaboration attack was big enough that no matter which mirrors Haku jumped to, he would be hit by the attack. Haku immediately moved his all mirrors in the front of him as a protective shield. Instantly, after the blazing hot fireball collided with the frozen mirrors, a huge explosion occurred. Both Natsumi and Sasuke were forced to cover their eyes from the flares and minuscule ice shards. Oh, aren't you supposed to rest in order to recover faster? Naruto sighed as he stood in front of Kiba and his nin dog. He had met the fellow Jinan just a few distances away from Tezuno's house. I'm feeling much better now, Kiba. Thanks for asking, Naruto said. But what are you doing here? I thought you went with others. Kakashi-sensei sent me back to guard Tezuno's house. You're slightly late. Just a few minutes ago, Two Gado's men attacked Tazano's family. If it wasn't for me, Inari would be dead by now, Naruto said. Kiba's eyes widened. Has anybody been hurt? He asked. No one hurt. I don't think there will be another attempt on their life, but better safe than sorry, Naruto said. He suddenly jumped up and grabbed hold of a branch and climbed up into the tree. Kiba, here is the plan. Kakashi-sensei gave you an order. You will follow his orders and I'm going to help others. Hey, wait. Naruto zipped through the trees like flying, barely touching a branch before he was reaching for another. Soon, he disappeared into the forest. Akamaru gave a series of barks and Kiba sighed. I know, Akamaru. The guard duty is world's most boring job, he said. I hope Shino has better luck than us. Oh, Shino Aburame was always cool, calm and collected that he rarely lost his temper. But at this time, he really wanted to put all his insects into the pink-haired Kunoichi's mouth. Sakura-san, I must insist that you stop talking loudly. You're giving our position to enemy ninjas, Shino said. Ah, what? Sakura asked, confused, not clearly understanding the situation. Girl, stop taking, Tazano said, frustrated. You're going to get one of us killed. A tiny, iridescent black and blue beetle-like insect landed on Shino's fingertip. It flicked its wings on occasion, the only way Shino studied the bug carefully before nodding, allowing it to run back to its home beneath his skin. There's another one. I have to find Sasuke-san and Natsumi-san, and very quick, Shino thought. He unleashed tons of bugs from his clothes. The Kikaiku met up in the air, and suddenly they all vanished in the mist, all searching for his fellow ninja. The chakra in the mist is making very hard to find them. Tazano was normal. He had seen Shino using the same move before. But Sakura, she was pale as a ghost, and had a disgusted look on her face. Sakura opened her mouth to say something, but an explosion shook the ground. What's going on? She asked. Oh! Haku lifted his trembling hand. His ice mirrors had managed to prevent heat from the jutsu reaching him. But the sheer force of the attack had shattered his all mirrors. One of the ice shards had hit him, nearly missing his heart. He started clawing at his chest, wanting the terrible pain to stop. Natsumi and Sasuke uncovered their eyes. With the exception of a few cuts and bruises, this was all the damage they had sustained. They gazed at the destruction they caused. While the actual damage to the structure of the bridge was light, there was vast surface scarring and there were occasional whips of smoke coming up. Natsumi blinked her eyes at the damage and dumbly said, "Whoa, I didn't think we'd do this much if we teamed up." Sasuke would have the retort that he did most of the damage, but if he had been paying attention. The Avenger of Team 7 was staring at injured Haku. Even though Sasuke didn't like to admit, Haku had been stronger than him. That was something that angered and exhilarated Sasuke. By beating Haku, Sasuke had proved he was one step closer to beating Itachi. Natsumi stepped forward, toward her fallen enemy. There was a shift in his posture when she pulled out a kunai from her pouch. She said, slowly walking toward Haku, "You are losing too much your blood. Surrender, we can help you." "Kill me," Haku said lowly, blood pumping out in spurts from the wound. "What? Master Zabuza has no use for a weak shinobi. So, please, kill me." Haku even smiled as he said it. "Say what? Why do you waste all that devotion on that rotten jerk? That mercenary scumbag. He doesn't care who he works for, or what he does, as long as he gets his money. Is that browless idiot really your beloved friend?" Natsumi shouted. This was beyond her scope of understanding. Why would anyone want to die for that monster? Why would anyone want to die at all? Haku smiled serenely, but before he could answer, they heard a scream. Natsumi recognized the voice at once. Sasuke. Her blue eyes widened in shock. Sasuke was crouching on the ground, holding up his hand, smeared with blood. The kunai sticking out from his shoulder burned as if it had been heated in a forge. He yanked the bloody kunai out of his shoulder and tossed it with disdain to the ground. He held his left shoulder, blood drooled from the corner of his fingers. He was thankful that the knife luckily had missed vital organs. If he hadn't noticed the kunai before, he wouldn't able to survive. He then winced and looked up as his newly awakened red eyes could clearly see the faint outline and chakra of his unknown attacker. Two tomoe in the left eye and one in the right began to spin rapidly when his unknown man dropped the jutsu and became visible. The man with the long sky blue hair looked at the Uchiha. He had a cocky smirk on his face. He was wearing a beige-colored vest-like shirt that goes down to his knees and a purple-colored shirt underneath it. He twirled the kunai on his finger. The man clutched the handle to where the sharp end was pointing to Sasuke. "Hokushin, remember this name, kid." Sasuke's vision became blurry from the pain and he managed to glare at the man towering above him. His newly awakened Sharingan faded away from his eyes and he fell on the ground, unconscious. "Move away from him," Natsumi shouted as she threw her kunai at the man. Hokushin deflected the kunai with his own. He jumped away from Uchiha and faded away once again. Natsumi ran toward her teammate. A ring of Natsumi's clones puffed around Sasuke, having him surrounded on each side. The real Natsumi knelt down beside the Uchiha. Blood was spurting out of the wound. She cut off his shirt and cleaned the blood. The skin around the wound showed red inflammation, grayish pallor, and streaks of darkening skin, almost black. Clots had formed around the edges, but blood still flowed. "Boss, we can't see him," one of Natsumi's clones said as she and her fellow clones blocked another kunai attack from their invisible foe. Hokushin's voice echoed all around her. "My poison has already entered his body, into his bloodstream itself. It is only matter of time before it consumes him. Will you shut up?" Natsume gritted her teeth. She and Sasuke were not on very good terms with each other, but still, he was her teammate. She was trying hard to find a way to save her teammate life. She knew she wasn't a medical ninja. With her shitty chakra control, there was no chance that she would become one. "Is this the first time you've seen a comrade die?" Hokushin asked. There. One of the clones threw a kunai at a particular direction, but it only met empty air. "Get used to it, girl. That is part of a ninja's life." "Shut up." Hokushin suddenly realized he wasn't talking to the same girl. Natsumi had an orange-red chakra swirling around her. Her eyes and face had gone feral. Oh! Kakashi and Nagari both sensed Natsumi's unearthly chakra. First, their thoughts drifted toward each other, but Kakashi came to realize what was really going on. "The seal by the fourth Hokage, has it broken?" "No, there's not enough chakra. But the seal has weakened. The power of the nine-tailed demon fox is bleeding through. I've got to act quickly." Kakashi had already figured out his opponent's weakness. His Sharingan could see Nagari's chakra emanating from a rock, the location of his real body. He had one perfect jutsu to finish the fight. Kakashi made a series of hand signs. Reikiri, bolts of lightning seemed to fly from his hand. Pure chakra, such raw energy, it would tear a man in half. Oh, no. Not again. She can't control it, Kushina thought when she sensed the Nine-Tails chakra leaking out of her daughter. "Habanero, what's going on?" Zabuza asked, still hidden in the powerful mist he had created. He could clearly sense bloodlust and inhuman chakra. "That's none of your concern, Zabuza," Kushina said. Kushina kept up her guard. She heard shuriken whizzing toward her. She quickly reacted, knocking each shuriken down with her kunai. Kushina sent the chakra through her sword. Several crimson-colored sealing arrays appeared over the blade. "Screen Benihim!" She swung her sword in an arc, firing crimson-colored energy blasts. It created a powerful gust of wind, blowing away the mist. It revealed Zabuza's position to her. Zabuza rushed towards Kushina. Before the missing shinobi could get near her, a flurry of golden chains wrapped itself around him and his sword. Separating Executioner's blade away from him, the chains slammed him into the ground. Zabuza struggled to get out, but the chains' grip tightened around him. "Don't bother. They can hold down much stronger thing than you," Kushina said, walking toward him. "I've also heard that they can even hold the mighty nine-tailed fox itself," Zabuza said. He knew it was over as he couldn't even feel his chakra. Oh! As Naruto continued running deeper into the forest, his senses began to be overwhelmed. He slowed down to a jog and soon completely stopped. "You did a good job," the real Naruto said as he literally came out of a tree's shadow. He walked toward his clone and placed his hand on the chest. "Thank you for your service." The clone's eyes rolled up and went completely blank, all spark drained out of them. He looked as if someone had pressed his switch-off button. He slumped back. Before his lifeless body hit the ground, large hands stretched out of a shadow and grabbed him. Warping its tendril-like fingers around him, the hands pulled him into a shadow portal. Naruto untied the headband and tied around his head to hide the marking on his forehead. He was ready to move when it suddenly hit him. What the hell? Naruto could feel his bones go numb where he could not move. He could clearly sense the Nine-Tails chakra from there. It was like a beacon. The beads of sweat poured down his face, frozen with fear. The image of Natsumi slashing her razor-sharp claws across his face appeared before his eyes. He remembered that pain and burning sensation. Naruto took a breath and let it out slowly. Fear was not an option, and if he let fear become an option, he would have chosen the easy way out. Naruto took first one hesitant step before breaking out into a run. Instead, he chose the hard path to overcome his fears. Natsumi turned swiftly and took a few steps away from unconscious Sasuke with her eyes now having turned red. "I'll kill you." Red chakra exploded out of Natsumi's body and wrapped around her. Her nails and canine teeth grew longer and sharper. Hokushin's eyes widened. He'd never seen anything like it before. He took a few steps back in fear. The red chakra grew stronger, gained a brighter glow. One tail of red bubbling chakra sprang from Natsumi's body. And then Natsumi lost control. She roared, a roar so powerful, it sent shockwaves through both sides. A shockwave stuck both Hokushin and half-dead Haku, sending both ninjas flying backwards. Hokushin quickly grabbed the only kunai he had in his back pocket and stabbed it straight into the ground, stopping his movements. Shit, Hokushin cursed as he was visible again. That shockwave had made him lose the focus on his invisible jutsu. Natsumi immediately launched herself at Hokushin. Her sharp claw was ready to tear him apart. Hurling himself to the side, narrowly escaping her claws, Hokushin heard an animalistic growl. When he looked behind, he paled. The red chakra had completely covered the red-headed girl from head to toe and she had sprouted out another tail from her back. Natsumi crouched and hissed, her features becoming more and more feral with each fleeting second. Oh, it can't be. Oh God. Sakura's knees felt weak. Her hands began to tremble. All the strength in her drained away as her arms fell limply by her side. She couldn't believe it had happened. Not to Sasuke. Shino knelt down beside the Uchiha and checked his neck for a pulse. Sakura-san, he is alive, but barely, he said. He looked at his bleeding wound. If we don't do anything, he will die. What are you doing? Sakura asked as she watched Shino's bugs spread over Sasuke's wound. Stop it. The wound on his shoulder isn't fatal. It won't kill him, but poison in his body will definitely do, Shino said in his usual monotone voice. My insects are making sure that poison won't spread into his body until medical help arrive. Sakura looked at Sasuke, feeling useless. If she had known any medical technique, she would have been more helpful, but she didn't. At that time, she realized how useless she was in the mission. Everyone, from a Jonin to a Jounin, had contributed something in this mission, except her. Not anymore. Sakura clenched her fist. I won't let this happen again. Oh! Hokushin tried to crawl back away from the monster as fast as possible. Leave me alone, he shouted and threw handful shurikens at the monster. All shurikens just bounced off the nine-tailed chakra cloak and fell to the ground harmlessly. Natsumi growled and lifted her arm. An arm made of red chakra stretched up, forming a giant fist. She didn't give her enemy time to think as the fist slammed on him, burying him deep into the ground. She did not see her enemy was already dead, her bloodlust consumed her. Violently, the chakra arm grabbed Hokushin's limp body and lifted him up. The sharp claws dug deep into the body. Blood dripped to the ground. Natsumi slammed him onto the ground 3-4 times before letting go. The lifeless and barely recognizable body of Hokushin dropped to the ground. Kyuubified Natsumi let out a huge roar, blowing away all mist around her. The pressure of Nine-Tailed's chakra almost tripled as it made visible distortions, squashing the air around her. Natsumi then arched her head backwards, and the tails upward. She began gathering black and white chakra to form a ball above her mouth. Dazuna took few steps back. What's going on here? Is it some kind of your ninja technique? He asked, looking fearfully at Natsumi. Cold sweat dripped down her face. Sakura didn't need any sensory abilities to feel nature of the red chakra. So much bloodlust poured from Natsumi's body that it felt like the air itself was ready to burst. I don't know, but her chakra. It is not natural, she said. This isn't good, Shino said as he watched the compressed chakra begin to take shape over Natsumi's mouth. Kyuubified Natsumi suddenly saw coming up fast toward her, but she reacted an instant too late. The bottom of a boot slammed into her face, causing the black sphere intently to disappear. Natsumi jerked head black and whipped her tail at the head of the attacker, the only for it to be dodged away. Naruto landed on both feet without even the slightest stumble. He clasped his hands and his chakra sprang out, forming several black chains. The glowing chains shot out from all directions, attempting to ensnare Natsumi. But it wasn't easy because of Natsumi's small size and her increased speed. Naruto's eyes widened and he froze in his place when he saw a massive claw made of pure red chakra coming toward him. His heart began to pound. His mouth became as dry as his palms became wet. The image of 6-year-old Natsumi slashing her razor-sharp claws across his face flashed through his head. He shook from head to toe and found himself breathing like an unfit man running to the finishing line of his first marathon. He remembered that pain and burning sensation from the red chakra. The chakra chains became unstable and dissolved, making Naruto an easy target. The claw hand slammed into his chest. He flew backwards, a shockwave of sound and air exploding from the contact. Naruto rolled, shadows splashing off his body and lying like deep puddles. His feet touched the ground, he spun, crossed his arms, and dissolved in form of a black ink. Naruto, Sakura shouted, watching her teammate to disappear. Don't worry. Boss can take care himself, Naruto's clone said, green chakra glowing around his hand. The clone's hand was over Sasuke's right shoulder. A green, luminous glow from his hand was going into the Uchiha's shoulder to heal it up. Shino had done a good job in preventing the poison from spreading through Sasuke's body. After removing the last bit of poison out of the last Uchiha's body, the clone used his more advanced healing jutsu to speed up the healing process. Naruto leapt out of a shadow. There was a large cut across the fabric of his shirt and fresh blood, but no wound. His healing factor had already taken care of it. He took a deep breath and cleared his mind. It's now or never. Naruto ran toward his twin sister. I won't let the fear control me again. Natsumi sent a chakra arm at his direction. Naruto foresaw the motion and quickly dodged it. Another chakra arm branched out. He evaded them in midair by stepping on a black rectangular platform that had just appeared out of nowhere beneath his feet. Kyuubified Natsumi sent her left arm in a secondary assault. Fear is only as deep as the mind allows. Naruto jumped and landed on another platform of shadow. He raced toward Natsumi while performing hand seals. The stepping platforms were instantly forming under his every step. When he got closer, he spewed a giant fireball at his twin. Natsumi dug her heels into the ground and roared, disrupting the blast. The resulting impact blew up dust in the air, reducing visibility on the battlefield. Beyond fear, there is a victory. Several glowing black chains materialized out of Naruto's body and shot toward his sister. Naruto didn't need his eyes to locate Natsumi. The Nine-Tails chakra was like a beacon to the sensor ninja like him. The dust settled down. The chains had warped around Natsumi and was restraining her movement. Naruto landed on the ground and tightened the grip of chains around Natsumi. He then began to make hand seals of a wood-release jutsu. Before he finished the last seal, several glowing golden chakra chains shot out of the ground, wrapping their way around Natsumi's limbs and body rapidly. Kakashi, do it, Kushina shouted as she landed in front of Naruto. In a burst of speed, Kakashi appeared next to Natsumi. He slapped a special seal tag on her forehead. The chakra suppression seal worked immediately. It disturbed the flow of the Nine-Tailed chakra in her body. The chakra cloak around Natsumi dissipated. The fox's chakra returned back into the seal and Natsumi's features reverted back to normal. Her eyes rolled back in her head as she fainted. Kushina and Naruto retracted chakra chains back into their bodies and Natsumi fell to the ground. Kushina's eyes traveled to the large cut that ran up her son's chest. Naruto, you are hurt, she said, worriedly. She went to check wound on his chest. Naruto slapped her hand away. I don't need your sympathy, he said, coldly. With that, he turned and walked away, but after a few steps, he turned again. Your golden child is there. He pointed at unconscious Natsumi. Why don't you just go there and dote over her? Like you always do? Kushina watched her son walk away. I can't change the past, but the present is my hands. Naruto, I will bring you back to our home, your home. This is my promise. She moved toward her unconscious daughter and knelt down. How is she? She asked. The seal has successfully suppressed Fox's chakra, but it has left her exhausted, Kakashi said. Kushina softly stroked her red daughter's hair. Kakashi got up and left to check others. He then walked over to where his students were and stopped to talk them. He looked at injured Sasuke, watching the slow rise and fall of his chest. How is his condition? He asked. It's too early to say something, Naruto said. At the moment, he is stable. But? Kakashi asked. I need to put him under critical observation to say something more about his condition. Kakashi nodded his head. Kakashi-sensei, Sakura called. Yes, Sakura. Kakashi turned his head toward his pink-haired student. What was that red chakra Natsumi used in the fight? She asked. That chakra wasn't normal. Even my Kikaiku were afraid of getting close to it, Shino said, his usual monotone voice filled with curiousness. Kakashi looked at Sakura and then Shino and sighed. He had seen that coming. Even Tazuna wanted to know about it as he came close to hear him. It's classified. I can only tell you without breaking the rule is that it is a special chakra, only 9 people in the whole world can use it. Kakashi said. Unscrewing the lid, Tazuna gulped down a mouthful, 2, and then another. The alcohol burned his esophagus and slid down into his belly. Breaking the silence, he asked, what happened to those super scary ninja? Well, Kakashi started. At that time, a gust of strong wind lifted the heavy curtain of mist. There, in the distance, were dead bodies of Zabuza and Nagari lying in a pool of blood. They are dead, Kakashi said. Tazuna swallowed nervously. Where is that faked hunter ninja? Sakura asked. Suddenly, everyone looked around. They saw only 3 bodies, one was clearly missing. Shino called his insects and hundreds upon hundreds of bugs began to swarm around him. His chakra signature has disappeared, Shino told them, his insects around him buzzing noisily. He is gone. Kushina carried her daughter toward her team. How is Sasuke now? She asked. Much better than before, Kakashi answered. Kushina said, okay, take him and Natumi to Tazana's home. They aren't safe here. We don't know how many ninjas Gato has hired. Let me help you carry the boy. At least this I can do, Tazana said. He suddenly seemed like a kindly old man, rather than the drunken construction worker he had been acting like the entire trip. Well, what a mess. Kakashi looked up, seeing a small man tapping his cane. He had brown hair and was wearing a black suit with a purple small and pair of black glasses. Tazana took a step back when he saw the nearly 100 thugs behind the man. Gato, he said, his eyes widening in absolute terror. Thanks for killing them, Leaf Ninjas, Gato said, then smiled evilly. You see, I never planned to pay them. It's such a pain, hiring skilled warriors like them, at such a hefty price. Now that they've worn all of you, my thugs can kill you easily. That reminds me, I have a score to settle. He walked over to where Zabuza's body was laid. Calling yourself the demon of the hidden mist. What a load of crap. Baby demon, maybe. I call it false advertising. He began to lay in, kicking it. Shaking her head in disgust, Sakura said, disrespecting the dead. He is such scumbag. What's the plan, Kushina-sensei? Shino asked, looking at all bloodthirsty samurais. We're heavily outnumbered. Kushina unsheathed her sword beneath him and took a fighting stance. We are ninjas and a spirit of a ninja never give up, she said, not taking her eyes away from the enemies. One by one, all ninjas pulled out their respective weapons. They were ready for the battle when several wooden planks spurted out of the ground. In a matter of seconds, there stood a large wooden wall between them and the group of thugs, separating both groups from each other. Kushina turned her head toward her son. Naruto shook his head, telling her it wasn't his doing. She thought, if it isn't Naruto, then, Yamato, Kakashi muttered. Besides Naruto, he was the only person he knew who could use the wood release. They could hear shouts and cries coming from behind the wooden wall, screaming, cursing, and what sounded like metal clashing, sword clashing. It started out slowly and then became louder. The noise stopped and everything became too quiet. The wooden wall retracted back into the ground. There stood, in distance, 4 masked men dressed in standard uniforms of Leaf Anbu. One man in eagle mask was holding Gato at sword's point. Around them where Gato's thugs lay dead, injured or dying. Ananbu walked toward the fellow Leaf Ninja. Kushina and Kakashi were already aware who was behind the mask. They had recognized mask that resembled a cat's face covered in green. Kakashi-senpai, Kushina-senpai, the Anbu greeted them. Tenzo, did Minato-kun send you here? Kushina asked, using Yamato's code name. No, we are on another mission, Tenzo said before he looked at Kakashi. Do you remember that mission, Kakashi-senpai? Which mission? Kakashi asked. As far as he knew they had done plenty missions together. The mission of finding the Land of Fire's missing citizens, the Anbu said. Oh yes, how could I forget that mission? The ex-Anbu said. We found dead bodies of those missing citizens near the Land of Fire border. Gato is responsible for their death, senpai. He kidnapped them to sell into slavery. When he saw he could get out of it, he killed them all, Tenzo said. Kakashi said, this is unexpected. That's not all, Tenzo continued. He has many illegal businesses in the Land of Fire. We've also found evidence of the Gato Company involvement in several bandit activities. What will happen to him? Tazanai asked, suddenly as he stepped forward. The Fire Daimyo will decide Gato's fate, Tenzo said, looking at the bridge builder. Thanks for your help, Tenzo, Kakashi said. Tenzo nodded his head. All Anbu disappeared, taking the criminal with them. Gato is. He is gone. He is really gone, Tazana said. It took him few minutes to believe in it. His face split into a wide smile. We are free. Sakura went toward her teacher. Kakashi-sensei, she said. Yes, Sakura. Do you want to ask something? Kakashi said as he could see a big question mark on her face. Kakashi-sensei, that wall. It was the wooden wall. But. Sakura trailed off. But only wood release bloodline can create something like that, right? Kakashi mentally cursed Yamato for showing his bloodline and said, yes, you are right, Sakura. But how? Lord First Hokage is the only user of that bloodline, Sakura asked. Then her eyes widened with the realization. You are telling me there's another one? Two actually, Kakashi thought. The information you are asking is classified. Sorry, I can't tell you about it, he said. I understand, sensei, Sakura said. She watched as Kakashi went to pick up the Uchiha. What the? All things we asked is classified. Inner Sakura shouted. Suddenly, an arrow flew across the air and buried itself into the concrete. This is our land. Gato, You can't have it. It was Inari, and he had an entire army of villagers behind him. He looked over and only saw dead bodies. What's going on? Where is Gato? You are kind of late, Naruto said. Gato is gone and we are free now, Tazuna declared happily. The citizens of the Land of Waves dropped their weapons. They cheered, their homeland theirs once more. Naruto-san, can I talk with you? Shino asked his classmate. Naruto looked at the insect's user. Yes, Shino. Those black-colored platforms you made in the fight. What were they? Shino asked. I know we are from the same hidden village, we were a classmate, but it doesn't mean I'm going to tell you my all secret, Naruto said. We are ninjas and a ninja's greatest strength is deception. Shino didn't ask him as he understood his logic. Oh, thank you for your hospitality. Well, it'll be dull once you're gone. But come by and visit, alright? Tazuna answered Kakashi's thanks. Wave citizens waved at their heroes, wishing for a safe and successful journey. They didn't stop waving at them until they became a blur. What's the name of the bridge, Tazuna? One of the bridge workers asked. How about the super awesome Tazuna Bridge? Tazuna offered. The crowd booed at his suggestion, showing displeasure. How about the Great Leaf Bridge in the honor of the Leaf Ninjas, who stopped Scum Gato? Someone from the crowd suggested. The crowd was silent for a moment before they burst into cheers for the name. Tazuna carved the name into the plaque at the end of the bridge. Oh, Kurenai, you made reckless decision continuing that mission. When your team encountered the two Chunin-level missing ninjas, the mission parameter increased from C rank to B rank, Minato said to the leader of Team 8. Kurenai looked down in shame, knowing her superior was telling truth. Kiba opened his mouth to defend his teacher, but Shino grabbed his friend's shoulder, stopping him saying anything reckless in front of their leader. One of your genins could have died in that mission. You were extremely lucky. But, Minato continued, good job, we, our Leaf Ninjas, never abandon the mission. Kurenai looked up, a surprised expression crossing her face. Thank you, Lord Hokage. She gave a slight bow. Minato turned his attention toward the last loyal Uchiha. Sasuke, how is your wound? He asked. Just slight ache, nothing more, Sasuke said, subconsciously grabbing his right shoulder. Naruto has done a good job healing it. Minato nodded. I'm glad to hear it and congratulations for activating your Sharingan, he said. Thank you, Sasuke said. Minato moved toward Team 8. And said, Team Kurenai, Hinata Hyuga, Shino Abrame, Kiba Inuzuka. He looked at the white dog sitting on Kiba's shoulder, and Akamaru, when your teacher was injured, you all handled that situation very effectively until help arrived. Great job. Hinata smiled and Kiba grinned happily. Akamaru let out a small bark of happiness. It was barely visible, but Shino's lips curved in a small smile. Minato smiled as he looked at his son. Naruto, you showed great courage and exceptional medical talent in the mission. You put your life in danger to save lives of your fellow ninjas and our client from certain danger, he said. I'm proud of you, my son. Naruto didn't say anything or show any reaction. Minato's acknowledged meant nothing to him. There was a time when he wouldn't have done anything for it, but he had left that time far behind. Minato had expected this kind of response from his son. Congratulations to all of you for successfully completing the mission, he said. Natsumi, stay here, I want to talk to you. The rest of you are dismissed. Everyone left the Hokage office except Natsumi and Kushina. Minato made some hand seals and the doors and windows glowed. How are you feeling, Natsumi? He said. Natsumi looked down at the floor. Aye. She looked so uncomfortable. I am sorry, Daddy. I lost the control again. Tears raced down her cheeks as she could not hold any longer. Kushina watched her daughter break down. She reached her, to stroke her hair and rub her back, to comfort her. Natsumi, she said. I felt lost. I didn't know what I was doing. But it's not an excuse, Natsumi sobbed. I attacked my friends. They would have died if it wasn't for Naruto Nikan. I nearly killed him again. Natsumi burst into tears like a broken sprinkler system. They poured down her face so forcefully she couldn't keep up with wiping them away. She sobbed so hard she could barely catch her breath. Kushina wrapped her arms around her daughter and hugged her on her shoulder. It's okay, sweaty. Let it out. The worst thing in the world was watching someone you loved cry, but Minato had to do it. Natsumi, you must learn to control Nine-Tails chakra, he said. But what if I lose the control again? Natsumi asked. She didn't want to use Fox's chakra ever again. In the influence of the red chakra, she had nearly killed her father twice. She didn't want to happen it again. This may sound a little harsh, but it's better you lose the control in a controlled environment than on a battlefield. But listen to your father, Natsumi, Kushina said. I was a former container of the fox. I know it's not easy to control his chakra, it is filled with hatred, but you have to at least try it. I know you are afraid, but it's normal, Minato said. He stood up from his seat and walked toward his daughter. We are human beings. And whether we like it or not, we are afraid. We live in a world full of fear. He bent down slightly so he was eye level with his daughter. You will never accomplish anything meaningful in your lives if you let fear control you, he said. Natsumi thought about everything. She knew her parents were right. She couldn't run away from her fear. It would just chase her and get bigger and bigger. It was time to stop, stand and face it. What the family didn't realize was that they weren't alone in the office. A pair of red eyes, glowing faintly, were watching over them from the darkest corner of the room where the natural light could hardly reach. Oh! Naruto was walking down the street of Leaf Village, lost in deep thought. He was thinking about upcoming Chunin exam. He stopped dead in his tracks. He had heard his name being called. He turned around and saw his pink-haired teammate running toward him. Sakura stopped in front of him. Naruto, I've been looking for you, she said, panting heavily. Naruto raised an eyebrow at this. I thought you liked Sasuke, Sakura, he asked. Sorry, I'm not interested in you. What are you talking about? I like Sasuke-kun, Sakura shouted. Sorry, my mistake, Naruto said. He sighed in relief. He didn't need another die-hard fangirl, one was enough. So what can I do for you? Where did you learn the medical ninjutsu? She asked. Why are you suddenly interested in that? Well, she looked so uncomfortable. The wave mission opened my eyes when I saw Sasuke lying on the ground and covered with blood. I felt worthless and useless. I couldn't do anything to help him. He wouldn't be in that condition if I had known any medical ninjutsu. She paused before continuing. I want to learn medical ninjutsu, Naruto. Kushina-sensei once told me that I have a perfect chakra control and the medical ninjutsu requires very advanced chakra control. So you want to learn medical techniques for Sasuke, Naruto said as he came to that conclusion. No, I want to forget that useless feeling. I want to help my friends and anyone who needs a medical attention. I am the weakest link in Team 7, I know that, but don't have the plan to stay there forever. He looked at Sakura and checked for any lies. When he found none, he said. Good to know, you are on the right path. It's more important to know your weaknesses than your strengths, he said. As for your information, I learned everything from the Senju library. How can I get there? She asked. The excitement of learning the medical ninjutsu was clearly visible on her face. You can. The library is protected by the blood seal. Only members from the Senju clan or related to that clan can get in there. Naruto saw her mood drop, so he said, the ninja library has a separate section for medical books. You can learn some basic techniques from there. But to learn more advanced and actual healing techniques, you have to contact the head of Medicorps. Sakura smiled and said, thank you, Naruto. This is very helpful. After she left, Naruto turned around and made his way to the marketplace. He quirked an eyebrow when 3 kids around the age of 8-9 passed him, screaming and running away from a furious purple-headed girl. He wondered what the idiot grandson of the 3rd Hokage and his friends did to Emi, a bully and Ninja Academy dropout, to make her angry like that. Shrugging, he continued his walk, only to stop when he felt the chakra of a tailed beast nearby. Oh, let me go. The short spiky brown-haired boy struggled in the air as he was lifted roughly by the sand ninja he had bumped earlier. How dare you bump me, little brat, I'll teach you a lesson. The sand ninja had weird fashion sense. He was dressed in a black, baggy, full bodysuit with a black hood that had cat-like ears. If that weren't enough, he had painted triangular shapes on his face. Serve you right, brat. Emi said and left the boy alone with the sand ninja. Moegi, Udon, help me. The boy shouted. Moegi had orange hair tied up, with red elastics, into 2 very large pigtails. Her friend, Udon, was short brown-haired and a dark-eyed boy with circular glasses. Let Konohamaru go, Moegi shouted. Besides her, Udon nodded vigorously, but the ninja only sneered. Kankuro, stop it. Let him go. We don't want any trouble. The blonde sand kunoichi frowned, not liking the situation, but her brother ignored her. Konohamaru, both the siblings heard someone shout. They turned in the direction of the voice to find 2 girls rushing toward them. The red-haired girl looked a bit angry. Both the siblings could tell that the 2 were probably genins of the Leaf Village. But the sand kunoichi was able to recognize something which her stupid brother failed to notice. The red-headed girl matched the description of the daughter of the 4th Hokage. Unhand Konohamaru, Suna ninja, Natsumi said in a calm tone with a small tone of anger in her voice as she stood a few feet away from the Suna ninjas. Natsumi-ne-chan. He not an A-chan. Konohamaru's friends called. The sand kunoichi's eyes widened when she heard the name. Natsumi. So I was right. She is the daughter of the Yellow Flash. I hope you don't do anything stupid, brother. What if I don't? Kankuro said in an arrogant voice. Kankuro don't? The blonde kunoichi tried to say something to him, but she was interrupted by her brother. Don't worry, Tamari, I have everything under control, Kankuro said. Kankuro watched as the red-haired leaf kunoichi pulled out a kunai and held it in her right hand while the dark blue-haired kunoichi took a defensive taijutsu stance. But the two were no longer alone as they were joined by another blonde girl. What's going on here, Natsumi? Ino asked her friend. Instead of answering Ino's question, Natsumi tightened the grip on the kunai as she glared at the Katsutsunin. Unhand him. She spoke in a threatening voice. To threaten me? You got some guts, girl, Kankuro said with a mad grin on his face. But before things could escalate any further between the two parties, the black chains wrapped around each of Kankuro's limbs. The chains pinned the sand ninja to the ground, making him drop Konohamaru, who unceremoniously fell on his butt. The kid rushed towards Natsumi and hid behind her. Children of the fourth Kazekage or not, you can't threaten the grandson of the third Hokage, a calm voice said. Everyone looked up at the source of the voice to find Naruto standing on a branch of a nearby tree. The chains were coming out from his outstretched hand. Naruto-kun, Ino cried, seeing her knight in shining armor present at the scene. Naruto-ni-chan. Natsumi muttered. Natsumi was afraid to make eye contact with her brother after what she had done, but she was glad that he was there. Hinata was thankful to him for saving Konohamaru. Tamari looked at the boy. His description was perfectly matched with the son of the Yellow Flash. She blushed as the blonde boy appeared even more handsome in person than in the picture. She then remembered his words. Wait. He called us children of Kazekage. He knows about us. Kankuro glared at the blonde. He tried to struggle free but it was no use, the binding chains wouldn't break. Let me go, punk, he shouted. Naruto jumped down from the tree, landing smoothly. Life is a circle, he said while walking toward the sand ninja. He bent down and smirked. Whatever you give will come back to you. Tamari's hand went to grab the giant folding fan strapped to her back. I wouldn't do that if I were you, Naruto said, looking at the sand kunoichi from the corner of his eye. Tamari froze in her tracks. Behind her was another chakra chain with its spear-like tip pressed against her neck. When did it get behind me? Naruto turned his attention back to her brother. Take this as a suggestion. This is Hidden Leaf Village, not your sand village. Here, we don't kill people to prove existence, he said. The sand siblings were white as chalk. Their eyes and mouths were frozen wide open in an expression of stunned surprise. Naruto smirked and straightened up. He pulled back the chains into his body, freeing Kankuro. Kankuro, stand up. Everyone heard the voice which sent a chill down their spine, especially because of the killer intent that washed over the area which was accompanied by the voice. All eyes traveled to the source of the voice. They saw a boy with brick red hair and a gourd on his back. He was hanging upside down on a branch of a tree. He has strange eyes, Hinata thought, shaking slightly, as she saw strange black rings around the boy's eyes. Naruto had shrugged off the killing intent like it was nothing. I felt your chakra but I wanted to confirm it, he thought, eyeing the boy critically. So you were actually here, Tanuki, Jigara, Kankuro stuttered. He immediately got to his feet. I can't shut up. You are an embarrassment to our village, Gaara said as he focused his killing intent on Kankuro which froze the boy in his steps. Gaara took no notice of the stares and fear he had generated in the people in the clearing as he focused on Kankuro. Losing yourself in a fight, how pathetic. Why do you think we came to the leaf? Finally, Kankuro was able to gather some courage as he quickly tried to defend his situation. Listen Gaara, they started it and... Shut up. I'll kill you, Gaara said, focusing a large dose of killing intent on his brother. The dose of killing intent made Kankuro start shivering along with causing him to sweat heavily. Okay, I'm sorry. Tamari also spoke to Gaara to try and defuse the situation between her younger brothers. Look, Kankuro is sorry. I am also sorry. Really? I don't want to hear any excuse, Gaara said. He dismissed others as his eyes focused on the blonde boy. To be able to restrain both of them, he is good. It looks like we got here too early but we didn't come here to play around, Gaara said, appearing in between his siblings but his eyes still focused on Naruto. I know that, Kankuro said to his brother. What's your name? Gaara finally asked the person who had defeated his brother and sister. Naruto smirked. It's Naruto, Gaara of the desert, Gaara said, introducing himself before turning to his siblings. Let's go. Hey, wait. Ino called out to the Sunanins to the surprise of everyone present. What? Gaara said as he turned around to look at the blonde girl. You guys are ninjas from the Hidden Sand Village, right? You may be allies with the Leaf Village but it is forbidden for shinobis to enter each other's village without permission. State your purpose. Depending on it, we may not be able to let you go, Ino said, making an intimidating face. Natsume facepalmed herself hard in the forehead and shook her head at her friend's stupidity. She knew that Ino was trying to impress her brother, but that scary face was too much. Don't you know anything? Tamari said, clearly unaffected by the scary look on Ino's face as she showed her pass to all. You're right, we are Junins from the Hidden Sand Village. We have come to your village to take the Chunin selection exams. But before anyone could say anything further, Gaara spoke as he turned towards Naruto. Are you entering the exams too? It's dependent on my teachers, Naruto said. If they nominate my team, then I am entering. Then I am looking forward to see you in the exam, Gaara said. When Gaara walked away, Kankuro turned to Naruto. He clenched his teeth together, glaring hatefully at the blonde boy. Kankuro, that's enough, Tamari said, grabbing her brother's hand. She stopped him doing anything stupid again as she knew it wouldn't end well in his favor. This is getting interesting, Naruto said as he watched the Sand siblings leave. Naruto-kun. You are so cool. Naruto sidestepped, dodging the missile named Ino. The young Yamanaka had tried to hug her crush from behind, but it didn't end well. Naruto moved toward his twin. Naruto-ni-chan, Natsumi said softly. Naruto leaned over and whispered something in her ear. Natsumi's eyes went wide. Naruto smirked as he expected that kind of reaction from her. When Natsumi came out of shock, there was no sign of her brother. I need to talk to Dad. Natsumi spun around and ran in the direction of the Hokage Tower. That sand ninja Gaara is just like me, but completely different. What does it mean? Where is she going? Ino asked. I don't know, Hinata said as she watched her best friend disappear into the writhing crowd. Oh! The Team 7 gathered on the bridge, their usual spot of a meeting. Sasuke was leaning on the bridge rail, staring intently ahead. Naruto was sitting on the bridge railing overpass and reading a book. Surprisingly, Sakura wasn't ogling Sasuke. Instead, her focus was on the medical book in her hand. A small distance away from her team, Natsumi was peering over the metal railing, down into the water below. She tossed her kunai up in the air, flipping and catching it, then up, flip and catch again. Her mind kept thinking about what her father had told her yesterday. Gaara was just like her. He was the container of the one-tailed beast as well as a son of a cage, but all similarity ended there. Her parents had sheltered her whole life, keeping her safe from a life of living sacrifice. In the Hidden Sand, Gaara didn't have that luxury. His father had isolated him from his siblings. He had tried to assassinate him rather than deal with Gaara snapping. Gaara had truly lived a life of Jinchuriki, a life of a nothing but loneliness, sorrow, and hatred. He is just like me, but completely different, she thought, remembering her brother's words. Twin Puff-Up appeared on the bridge and then came out the teachers of Team 7. The Genin stopped whatever they were doing and looked at their teachers. Morning people, Kakashi greeted them in a lazy manner. This is sudden but we've nominated you guys for the Chunin selection exam, Kushina said. Really? Natsumi asked, not believing in her ears. Yes. Kushina smiled. For the first time in 5 years, there are going to be rookies in this Chunin exam. So teams 8 and 10 are entering as well, Naruto asked. Maybe. Kakashi smiled under his mask. Here are your applications. He handed each of them a form. Sign those papers and turn them in at 301 by 4 p.m. tomorrow. Sasuke, Natsumi and Naruto immediately signed in their forms. They were not going to let the opportunity to move next ninja rank slip away. Sakura gazed long and intently upon the paper in her hand. Is it all right if I don't participate in this exam? She asked suddenly. Everyone looked at her, a little stunned by the question. And speechless. Unlike them, Naruto had already seen such side of her a day ago. He wasn't surprised. Well, yes, Kakashi said. Okay, it was unexpected. Test can only be taken by teams of 3. Sasuke, Naruto, and Natsumi, together they are already a 3-man team. Then I am sorry. Sakura handed her form back to Kakashi. I don't think I am ready to be a Chunin. Are you sure? This is one of a chance to move forward in rank, Kakashi asked her for the last time. I am sure Kakashi-sensei, Sakura said. She had made the decision and she was not going to change it. May I ask you why? Kushina asked. She wanted to know the reason behind her decision. If it was self-confidence then she and Kakashi could do something about it. Sakura took a deep breath and said, I am aiming to become a medical nin, Kushina-sensei. Learning to medical ninjutsu is my first priority now, then move forward in rank. I'll try my luck next time, Kushina smiled. Her student had grown up from being Sasuke's #1 fangirl to a ninja. I'm proud of you, Sakura. You have made a right choice, she said. I can't help with medical ninjutsu, but I will talk to the head of Medicorps for you. Thank you, Kushina-sensei. Good luck to everyone, you too Sakura, Kakashi said, giving them a smile. That is all. Good luck, Kushina said. With that, both teachers puffed out of existence. Naruto looked at his teammates. I will meet you tomorrow, he said. His shadow stretched out upwards, curled around his body and he disappeared. That's new, the remaining genins thought. See you tomorrow, Natsumi said. She decided to show off like her brother but a little. She made a hand seal and disappeared in a puff of smoke. She reappeared a few meters away in another puff of smoke. I need more practice, she thought. This time she chose to simply walk away from there. Sakura sweat dropped. Then without a word, Sasuke walked away. He took a few steps and then paused, glancing back at Sakura. At least in the future, we can't depend only on Naruto for medical help. Good luck, he said. Thank you, Sasuke-kun, Sakura said happily. When Team 7, Naruto, Natsumi and Sasuke, reached the academy, they wasn't surprised to see the mass number of genins in the grounds of the academy. They didn't give them much glance as they made their way directly toward the room 301 that assigned for the first test. As they walked up the stairs, they came across teams from various countries. They reached the second floor and saw a huge crowd of genins gathered around the room labeled 301. But this is second floor, Natsumi whispered, looking toward the room labeled 301. Sasuke briefly activated his Sharingan. It's a Genjutsu, he said in a quiet tone and made a hand seal to dispel the illusion. Naruto quickly grabbed his hands, stopping him from doing it. Don't do anything, he said. Look at them. Don't you recognize them? Both Natsumi and Sasuke looked at what he was pointing. They saw two boys guarding the fake 301 room. They both had brown hair. The one on the left had his hanging down haphazardly around his face, framing his black eyes. The one on the right had spiky hair which framed his own black eyes and the bandages that were on his face. They looked like ordinary boys, nothing special about them. Natsumi cupped her chin in her hand, staring at them. They look familiar. They are our eternal gatekeepers, Izumo and Kotetsu, Naruto said. Sasuke took a second look at the boys. Image of two boys overlapped by image of older versions of the same boys guarding the front village. They are here for weed out weak genins, Naruto continued. Don't say anything. It's better if we don't draw attention to ourselves. They heard the sound of one person being knocked down at the front of the group. The throng of people seemed to part, allowing them to see the person who had been hit. The boy had shiny black hair, round eyes with prominent lower eyelashes, and very thick eyebrows. He wore a skin-tight green jumpsuit, orange leg warmers, and a red leaf forehead protector as a belt. Don't you think it's too much? Natsumi asked her brother. Don't let him fool you. He's stronger than he looks, Naruto said, giving Natsumi a pointed stare. Come on, let's go. However, their presence didn't go unnoticed by a pair of white eyes. Hyuga boy wore a khaki shirt with dark brown shorts that matched his hair, which fell to the middle of his back. His forehead protector was wrapped around his forehead with a leaf symbol on it. The veins around his eyes bulged with chakra. The boy's white eyes narrowed at Naruto. Oh! As Team 7 are heading toward the classroom, they heard someone behind them saying, "Hey, guy with the blonde hair." The trio turned to see the same boy in the green leotard on a platform above them. Naruto raised an eyebrow as he was only blonde in the team. "What can I do for you?" he said. "Will you fight me, right here, right now?" the boy said with a determined look on his face. "A fight? Here and now?" Naruto asked. "This is against rule. Do you want to be disqualified even before the exam starts?" The boy jumped over the banister and landed about a dozen feet from them. "My name is Rock Lee. You are Uzumaki Naruto, right?" "No, I am not." Naruto shook his head and then smirked. "I am just a clone." Sasuke was smiling. That look was very unfamiliar on his face. "Actually, we all are clones," Natsumi said. With that, the trio puffed out of experience. Lee stood there alone with his mouth gasping open in shock. "Oh!" Natsumi got feedback from clones she had left behind. "You were right, Naruto-ni-chan," she said, walking beside her brother. "That boy in the green jumpsuit was following us. His name is Rock Lee." "That's not important now," Naruto said, putting a full stop on that matter. "The important is the Chunin exam. It is divided into 3 stages. The first stage is a written test." Natsumi's mood dropped immediately. The written exam had been her worst subject in the academy. Naruto continued, "The second stage is a survivor test and the third and final stage is in one-on-one tournament battles." "How do you know all of this?" Sasuke asked finally. "It was supposed to be a secret, right?" "A ninja must be good at information gathering," Naruto said and looked at Natsumi out of the corner of his eye. I hope she catches my hint and doesn't screw up, he thought. He had gotten tired of watching Kushina and Natsumi's faces each day. Once I become a Chunin, I can move out from the team. Oh, the first part of exam went very well, Naruto thought himself. If only Natsumi hadn't opened her motor mouth. Naruto looked at all the remaining competition. Ibiki Morino, the commanding officer of the Konoha Torture and Interrogation Force and the first protector of exam, had seemed well set plan as he had played his little mind game against the Genins before asking the 10th question, but his ex-sister had decided to confront the proctor in hopes the man would stop his mind games and get on with the final questions. Her little outburst and "I'm going to be first female Hokage" speech had installed courage in the hearts of others to stay put in their seats and pass the exam. A total of 30 teams along with Team 7 had passed the first part of the exam, which according the second proctor was something unusual. Naruto sighed. They were standing in front of the closed gates of Practice Arena 44, or as the proctor so lovingly called it, Forest of Death, the place where the second test was going to be held. He could clearly see that most of the Chunin hopefuls were clearly scared by the creepiness of both the forest and the proctor of this exam. Alright maggots. This is the place for your second test, Training Area 44, or better known as the Forest of Death. The proctor for the second test said. She was tall, athletic and absolutely mean in appearance and behavior. Her name was Mitarashi Anko, a special jounin. She determined to cut the number of the Chunin hopefuls in half. Naruto wasn't disturbed by her behavior, but he looked around for any potential challenge. His eyes fell on the Iwa girl. She had short, black hair and pupilless pink eyes. She wore a red-colored, raised collar garment that reached below her stomach region with a full-length sleeve on her left arm while sleeves missing, fishnet tights and a skirt over them. Kurotsuchi, the granddaughter of the third Tsuchikage. Naruto glanced at Kumo team, especially white-haired boy and red-haired girl, and students of 8-tailed Jinchuriki are also here. White-haired Kumo boy's name was Omoi. He had dark skin, spike hair and dark eyes accentuated with eyelashes curving upwards from the corners. He wore a dark outfit consisting of an overlong shirt with a hood, with red bandage handguards. Kumo Kunoichi's name was Kuro. She also had dark skin with spiky hair like her teammate. Her eyes' color were amber. She wore a long, short-sleeved dress with frilly edges complete with 2 simple yellow earrings, fishnet stockings, thigh-high boots with white soles. Both ninjas had a long sword on their back. Naruto leaned his head to the side as a kunai sailed past his head by millimeters. Anko appeared behind him with another under his chin. Well, aren't you the brave one? Anko started speaking, cupping the face of the fourth son with her hands and bringing her face closer to his. She pressed down the tip of his blade into the boy's chin until it started to draw blood. It is kids like you that are quickly killed. He he he. Spraying the red blood I love, she said as she licked the blood on his face. Several tick marks appeared on Ino's forehead. Get the hell off my Naruto-kun, she shouted. Troublesome women, Shikamaru muttered. Anko ignored the blonde girl, but she was mentally getting annoyed as she didn't get the desired response from the boy. He looked completely bored at her scaring tactics. But there was some relief when her eyes swept on the other contestants to find them scared by her little fun play. Naruto used his finger to push her kunai away and said, well, why don't you get on with the show? I'm bored already. Spoilsport, Anko grumbled. She sensed someone creep on her from behind. On instinct, she activated the hidden kunai mechanism in her sleeves, which shot forth a kunai in her palms to block the incoming attack. Here's your kunai. Anko heard the voice of the female who held her kunai by that elongated tongue of hers. Why? Thank you, she replied in mock happiness, as she pressed her kunai a little further on that disgustingly long tongue of the grass nin. She didn't know why, but something about the grass kunoichi was sending her bad vibes. She ignored it for the time being. But you know, don't sneak up behind me unless you want to die. I'm sorry, your kunai grazed my hair. I got excited, but I wanted to give it back, the grass kunoichi said, as she offered the kunai to Anko. Anko swiped it from her, showing no disturbance at the large tongue. She pocketed the kunai and returned to stand in front of all genins again. Okay, your task is to enter this area and get another scroll from others. Remember, to pass you must complete this test with both scrolls, Heaven and Earth, with your teammates alive. And within 5 days, you have to show up at the central station that is your finishing line, so to speak. Before you enter you will sign special forms that my colleagues are giving you, she said. Why? Some genins asked. Why? To state that the Leaf or I aren't responsible for your death or injury that will surely occur in this test. Anko spoke gleefully. Sejanon plus many others paled. Oh, I thought we would meet some challenge by now, but all we met was a group of weak Ray ninja that ran away when things got tough. What a letdown. Naruto thought. It had been about 3 hours since they had entered the forest and nothing had really happened. He was seriously starting to get bored. "What's the plan now, Naruto-ni-chan?" Natsumi asked as she stopped and looked her brother. Sasuke was also looking at the blonde. He hated to admit it, but Naruto was better plainer than him. "We have a heaven scroll, so we need a earth scroll to pass." Get down," Naruto shouted, but he was too late. A sudden massive gust of wind appeared out of nowhere, scattering the team from one another. "Oh!" Anko relaxed with a sigh as she took another bite of the stick of dango. Yum. Nothing better than dango and juice. For some reason, the taste of her favorite food had increased by 20% during the exams. While normally she would have wondered what could account for this, but she determined it had to do with the thoughts of all the genins probably engaging each other in the mortal combats. "Now, once I'm done eating, I guess I'll head to the tower." She took the last bite of dango. Since, in this program, the fast ones should only need about 24 hours. She tossed the empty stick into a nearby tree. Said tree was now decorated by what must have been almost 30 or 40 sticks. All of them were arranged into the leaf symbol. Leaf mark complete. She took the last sip of her bean soup and tossed the cup into a nearby trash can, and hopped to her feet. Suddenly, a cloud of smoke appeared in front of her. The woman saw a Chunin with glasses and a forehead protector tied on top of his head like a bandana. He looked worried about something, causing the woman to sigh in disgust. "What's with the look?" she asked. "Big trouble, Anko." The Chunin replied. "Already? What the hell could the problem be this soon?" "We've found dead bodies, 3 of them." "Dead bodies?" "Yes. Please, it's easier to show. Come quickly." Anko followed the Chunin as he requested. He ended up leading her to a small graveyard in the outer parts of the leaf. 2 other Chunins were already there to examine the dead bodies that the one with glasses had informed Anko about. Anko put her index finger under her chin while taking thinking position. She looked at the bodies. Weird. She walked over for a closer look. After examining their paper and personal items, they seemed to be the hidden grass shinobis who were entered in the exam, but, as you can see, one Chunin was said who had examined the dead bodies. He turned over the one body to show his face to Anko. "They have no faces, they are blank if they were melted off." Anko's eyes widened as the words of the Chunin came together in her mind. There's no mistaking it. This jutsu is his. Why is he in this exam? She thought about her old master who had betrayed her in the village. Her head jerked back and looked at the Chunin. "Show me the picture of these 3. "Oh, yes." The Chunin produced them at once and handed them to Anko. Anko gasped in horror as she saw the photo of the familiar creepy grass kunoichi she had met at the start of the second part of exam. He stole this face. So at that time, he already. She clenched his fist. "This is bad." "Huh?" one Chunin said in confusion. Anko turned to look at the leaf nin. "You guys, go report this to Hokage-sama. Send some Anbu captains to the Forest of Death," she ordered. "I'm going after them right now." The Chunin nodded and left Anko to do as told. Said woman jumped the fence into the forest, and began jumping from tree to tree. Her heart was racing in fear, anticipation, and anger. Oh! After being blown away by the massive wind, Natsumi found herself alone in the small clearing in the forest. "Ooh, what the hell?" Natsumi groaned, as she woke up in the clearing and held her head in pain. She guessed she might have hit the ground with her head. She wanted ice for her head. She slowly regained his senses, breathing deeply. Something wet trickled down on her hand. What is this?" Natsumi tried to shake the rotten sticky substance off her hand. She glanced over her shoulder into the darkness of the trees and saw 2 yellow-slitted eyes. "Oh, shit. Oh, that attack almost caught me off guard," Naruto said to himself. He was floating in the shadow realm. This shows, only power isn't enough. You need also experience. A space of void distorted before taking shape like several little sharks on legs with no eyes. They were shadow eaters, one of the tribes of the Onis. Jumping up and down, they made combination of squeaking, hissing, and chattering sounds. "Go and become my eyes and ears," he ordered them. Their noise increased. The blackness melted around them and they disappeared. Oh! After the large gust of wind scattered his team, Sasuke spent several minutes trying to find them. He was intercepted by 3 Kuzujinan. 2 of whom left on the order of their leader. The strange grass kunoichi pulled out a scroll from her pouch and held it up for Sasuke to see. "You guys want this, right? An earth scroll since you has the heaven scroll." As soon as she finished, the kunoichi brought the scroll to her mouth and she shoved it down her gullet right before his eyes. The last loyal Uchiha turned a light green and looked like he wanted to puke. "That is disgusting," he thought. "Now we can fight for these scrolls." With our lives on the line, the woman finished, as she released an intense killing intent. Sasuke gasped and fell to his knees. shaking and struggling to breathe as images of his deaths at the grass nin's hand came to his minds. He saw himself getting gutted by a long sword, getting brutally ripped apart in all way of gruesome deaths. The images of death lasted several seconds before they disappeared. Yet the feeling remained the same, gripping him hard and preventing him from moving. This is not genjutsu, Sasuke thought. Her killing intent is so intense it showed images of my death. I've never felt something like this before, not even from that time with Zabuza. Well, it seems you can't move, a pity. I expected a challenge, the woman said with a frown. I guess I'll just get rid of you now. She pulled out a kunai and gave them a lazy toss toward the Uchiha. Come on, move. I've to move. Sasuke struggled to move the hand he had that held his kunai. Come on, move. Move. At the very last moment, he managed to stab himself in the leg and leapt away. I see, so the prey managed to use pain to get rid of his fear. The strange kunoichi licked her lips. It seems the prey might be more interesting than first glance may seem. Sasuke stopped behind a tree when he felt they had gotten a safe distance away. He knelt on the branch, pulling the kunai out of his leg with the winds. His Sharingan eyes began spinning frantically as he looked around for any sign of the frightening woman. Sasuke, movie. There's a snake above you. A familiar voice of his teammate shouted. The raven-haired boy jumped off the branch just as the snake smashed it. Damn it. I was so frightened, I wasn't aware of my surroundings, he thought and cursed himself for his lack of awareness. Natsumi landed beside him. Watch your surroundings carefully, Sasuke, she said. Natsumi grabbed kunai and shuriken and began flinging them at the snake, aiming at the head to kill it. Knowing it won't stop the snake, she and Sasuke quickly made some hand seals. They aimed at the snake, their mouths gaping wide. Wind release, great breakthrough. Fire style, dragon fire technique. The combination of wind and fire rushed out towards the snake in an incredible speed and force. Unable to avoid, the deadly blast reached it and created a violent tornado of fire, drowning the giant snake inside it. Natsumi and Sasuke were relieved as the snake hissed and began to fall. Then to their horror, the scales on the snake began to crack and then revealed the grass kunoichi. The grass kunoichi came out, grinning at the genins widely. You two shouldn't relax even for a moment, the woman said, as she gave a bloodthirsty grin. In the presence of a predator. She began to slither across the tree branch, only stopped by the sound of something hard hitting wood. When the grass kunoichi looked down, she saw a kunai stuck onto the large branch she was standing on. At the same time she also noticed that there was an exploding tag tied to the end of it, where it lit up and exploded. After the tag exploded, there was a large cloud of smoke. The mysterious Shinon jumped out of it, revealing that she was unharmed, but as soon as she did, she was suddenly sent flying down to the ground, hard, after a sudden kick to the face. Natsumi and Sasuke looked up to the person who had attacked their mysterious enemy. They saw the person standing on a large branch and looking down at the bush-covered area, where he sent the mysterious assailant into. Nichan, Natsumi thought when she saw him. Naruto, Sasuke thought at the same time. Naruto jumped down and landed next to his teammates. Stays alert. He isn't down, he said. They suddenly heard the dark chuckling of the mysterious shinobi echo throughout the forest. Coo, you're smart like your father, Naruto-kun, the shinobi said, emerging out of the tree in front of them, completely unharmed. Cut the crap, Naruto said. I know who you are and what you want. The grass kunoichi laughed, peeling away the face to reveal very pale skin, golden eyes with slitted pupils. It was his true face. Well, it wasn't, but nobody had to know that. Natsumi paled seeing the familiar face. She slowly reached her hands into her pouch. Where is it? She thought. Orochimaru, Sasuke thought as he recognized the face of the legendary snake Sannin. It's well known that you're obsessed with learning every jutsu that exists, something that you likely picked up from your teacher. The Sharingan is the perfect ninja tool for learning and coping jutsu instantly, Naruto said, eyeing Orochimaru carefully. The tree's shadow stretched and ended at the feet of the snake Sannin. You're here for Sasuke, aren't you? You're right, Naruto-kun, Orochimaru chuckled in amusement. Now, I'd like to do what I came to do and I'll be on my way. He stared hungrily at Sasuke who shivered. He now knew who he was facing. He seethed for a moment, he hated being so defenseless. I can't let you do that, Naruto interrupted the Sannin. Several black chains shoot out of the ground and formed a protective barrier around Team 7. Do you think your little barrier can stop me? Orochimaru said as he carefully observed the barrier made by the Uzumaki brat. The barrier made by the Uzumaki chakra chain was quite impregnable, but the brat was young and inexperienced to use its full potential. I think so, Naruto said, knowing that Orochimaru was underestimating him. You see, The first thing is that I need Sasuke alive to advance to the next stage of the exam. Sasuke gritted his teeth in anger. Naruto was, and always had been, an arrogant, self-centered bastard. Why should I care? Orochimaru said half amused. He decided to hear this interesting person. Again, I assume that your thing will prove dangerous to Sasuke, maybe even disabling. Since this place is full of others who'd love to nail Sasuke for bragging rights if nothing else, you see where I'm going. Even if he lives through your experiment, he might not survive other competitors. Orochimaru pursed his bloodless lips in thought. He had to admit, his seal was a dangerous thing to apply on his chosen subjects. The blonde brat had a point, but not fully so. And what are other reasons? Naruto shrugged. I think that you should also consider what his older brother might decide to do if you mess with Sasuke. Sasuke snarled in an instant rage. Shut up. You know nothing about. He suddenly froze, unable to move or speak. What's going on? He felt some invisible force holding him. Orochimaru raised his eyebrows at the Uchiha's behavior. He also noticed the strange way the boy's shadow moved. He decided to investigate about it later. And why would Itachi-kun care what happens to his brother? You do know who is he? He asked. Think about it. Why did Itachi leave his brother alive when he got rid of his whole family first? I think he has a good reason, a very good reason. After all, a maniac who can kill a whole clan, his clan, of very powerful ninjas in cold blood has to have a very strong reason to spare his weak brother. What are you doing, Ni-chan? Natsumi watched his brother talking to a S-rank missing nin. She then felt a familiar handle in her hand. Got it. Orochimaru found himself nodding in agreement. Indeed, you've proved your point. But it's changed nothing, he said. Not really, but it's brought us time, Naruto said as he watched Natsumi pull out a three-pointed kunai. Natsumi shouted, ready to throw the kunai. Stop there, snake freak. You one move and I will summon dad here. Nice move, brat, but it's still changed nothing. Orochimaru scoffed. Idiot, why can't she act like a ninja? Naruto sighed. Think about it, if the Hokage came here, we will disqualify from this exam, but you will also lose to see true potential of Sharingan, he said, carefully. When Orochimaru did nothing, he took that as a sign to explain himself. It wouldn't hurt to see more of Sasuke's skills, right? I mean, one lousy fight against you is hardly a measuring stick. Sasuke should have a chance against other opponents to prove his worth, eh? Maybe. Orochimaru trailed off while considering possibilities. This was unfortunately a true and valid point. But he would be hard-pressed to mark the child later. This was a unique chance to do it. Who was he kidding? He was a Sannin and Konoha was once his playground. He could do it later, he just thought it was much nicer this way, to tempt the Uchiha more. But as he considered it further, he realized that Sasuke was ripe for taking, he just had to wait. The boy wanted power, he could see it in his eyes. No, Sasuke was already his. Also, if the threat of marking the last Uchiha disturbed Konoha's leaders and his old sensei, it would sufficient to distract them from his real reason for coming back. He liked that too. Still, he'd love to see how strong were Hokage's children. If that blasted child of Kazekage's was any indicator, well, that would just be lovely. He almost laughed aloud. Those fools in the Sand Village would get weaker, and Konoha would be weakened too. And he would have his prizes all to himself without any risks. Very well, Naruto-kun, you've made your case. I'll leave your teammate alone, for now. If only to amuse myself even more. Orochimaru vanished, leaving his trademark creepy chuckle echo behind. As soon as he was certain that Orochimaru was gone, Naruto removed the barrier. He spent a great deal of his concentration trying to sustain it in his shadow hold at the same time. Thanks God, is he really gone? Natsumi gasped as she realized that the crazy man wasn't with them anymore. She was eyeing the surrounding forest for any signs of the snake freak. Relax, he's gone for now, Naruto said. Sasuke stood up and glared at him. You went too far, Naruto. I didn't need any protection. I can take care of my problems. Your problems? Naruto scoffed. If that guy had his way with you, you'd be screaming in pain right now and be very ill. And that would make it mine and Natsumi's problem. Besides, I didn't protect you, I just bought you some time to get protection. What do you mean by that? Natsumi asked, pocketing the kunai and making sure this time it would easy to grab. Don't you hear what I said? He is obsessed with Sharingan blood limits. He will come for Sasuke. I just managed to convince him to postpone it. Natsumi paled. That's insane. This is Konoha, one can't just waltz in and do things to our ninja. Naruto shrugged. You are forgetting that Orochimaru was one of us too, and damn good at his job. He was almost chosen as the next fourth, you know. We have to tell this to Dad, Natsumi said. We will tell Hokage-sama, Sasuke stated firmly. But in meantime we have to complete this exam. And Naruto, we will talk about some things you said. Oh, what is this? Sasuke said, as he pointed to a large poster on the wall opposite of the entrance. If you lack heaven, seek wisdom, be ready. If you lack earth, run in the fields, seek advantage. And if you heaven and earth, you can succeed in even the most dangerous mission. These rules will guide extreme. It only took a glance at the scroll for Naruto to understand that this had something to do with the two scrolls, as the words heaven and earth were highlighted on that large scroll. It's telling us to open the scrolls, he said, bringing out the scroll. In one swift motion he unfurled the scrolls. But the moment he opened the scroll, his eyes widened at the seal for a teleportation jutsu inscribed on the two scrolls with the kanji for person at the seal's center. Quickly placing the two scrolls on the ground, he and his teammates quickly jumped back, forming some distance between them and the scrolls. When the smokes cleared, Team 7 was greeted by Kakashi. "Yo," he said in his usual lazy tone with his favorite orange book in his hand. "Congratulations are in order of you passing the test." He looked at his watch and checked the time, within 24 hours. Well, about the meaning of the motto of the Chunin written by 3rd Hokage-sama. The heaven in the motto refers to human mind and the earth refers to human body, Kakashi-sensei, Natsumi said, cut in. Yes, Natsumi, Kakashi said, looking at his teacher's daughter. I need to talk to my dad. It's really urgent, Natsumi said. There was seriousness in her voice. Kakashi closed the book in an indication he knew how serious she was. What do you want to talk about? He asked. We met someone in the Forest of Death, Sasuke said. Who? Orochimaru. It was Naruto who answered his question. That's the end guys. If you enjoyed then make sure to leave a comment. This is Chaos Shinobi signing off.